everyone, welcome to Chamber Chats, a brand new podcast series brought to you by Sevenoaks District Chamber of Commerce. I'll be your host. My name is Nick Bryant, and we're going to be interviewing a selection of members from the Chamber about their businesses, what they do in their businesses, and how the Chamber helps them. And I'm really pleased this morning to be joined by our first guest, who is Neil Schwemm from CHS Networks. Good morning, Neil.
Morning, Nick.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So CHS Networks are IT support and services businesses, MSP, in the MSP space. But I just want to mention, because you won an award recently, Large Business of the Year.
Yeah, we did.
Straight off the back of that.
Yeah, very good. Very pleased, very proud.
Yeah.
Testament to the team. You know, we've been doing this quite a long time, so it's something new for us. Yeah, but it's a reflection of what we do.
It's nice to get recognised like that, isn't it? Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
But let's just go back, Neil, and start how you got into technology in the first place.
Yeah, sure. So it was actually someone asked me the other day about it, and it's obviously went through school, did obviously the IT bit, and this is some time ago now, and went off to college and sort of did some IT technology courses there. And part of that course was I had to do a placement. And at the time, the local village policeman in Kensington, where I'm from, local, was very much the IT guy. And he left the police and set up his business in a sort of a shed in the back garden.
Okay.
And it was very much Apple Mac.
Right.
And I went there, did my placement, got really into it. And I thought when I finished college, he might have taken me on, but he didn't. He wasn't really looking for staff. And about 2 weeks later, my mum, bless her, came up, knocked on the door, threw the copy of the Evening Standard, which not many people might know what that is these days, had circled a few jobs. And one particular job was looking for someone who could do a thing called FileMaker Pro, which was back in the day was a database that was on the Apple Mac. So my mum, obviously listening to ask me questions when I got home, I mentioned this and she circled it. And long story short, that was an IT recruitment company in Bromley.
Okay.
I went there, saw their IT out quite quickly. I was a one man in the corner. They were Roldex cards in those days.
Yeah.
And once we'd done the IT piece, they got me on the phones effectively doing resourcing. And I was speaking to IT contractors and became very apparent very quickly I was on the wrong end of the phone.
Right.
Looking at some of the rates they were getting. So I left and started my IT contracting career or journey, as they say, and off I went up into the city.
So that was CHS Networks? Or
No, I contracted for a good few years.
Right.
And my last proper job, as I like to call it, so I did a few stints at Walt Disney Corporation, Lloyd's of London.
Okay.
And my last job was actually at Fidelity Investments in Hildenborough.
Oh, right.
And that's actually where I met my co-founders. They're still with me today.
Okay, thanks, yeah.
And so that's where CHS was really born. 2001 is when I sort of the idea came to fruition and,
Rooming. Yeah. 24 years later.
It's a 25th anniversary next year.
You can have a party.
We're going to have a big party. So in those days it was what does it look like for businesses? So off we went, room in the flat, above the in-laws garage, and the rest is history.
That's lovely. I love a story like that, how it grows. What does CHS stand for?
Interesting. People often ask that. So it actually stands for Corporate Hardware Solutions.
Right.
But back in the day, you had a few names. It's amazing how many people can't spell the word corporate. So corporatehardware.co.uk, I'd often miss emails. In essence, we don't just do corporate and we don't just do hardware.
Yeah.
And networks really underpins everything we do, in today's world, internet and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So we shortened it. People just call it CHS, really.
CHS Networks is but yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you're really heavily in the MSP space. Can you explain to us, to all people, what MSP is and what it means, that sort of thing?
So we're a managed service provider. And a managed service provider in the sense we provide IT services predominantly.
Yeah.
That's changed quite a lot in recent years, obviously, with the event of things like cyber and also the security piece. But essentially, the essence of it remains the same. People phoning up, I can't print, I can't send an email. We don't get so many of those calls anymore.
Okay.
Back in the day, you get people phone up and say, how do you make the margins bigger or the font bigger? You don't get those calls anymore.
Would people a bit more educated about it? Yeah.
People are coming into the workspace with a lot of those skills. Obviously, the generation coming out of school and universities and colleges, they have a lot more. I mean, my daughter, the skills that she has, I can't even help her with that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so some of them are really genned up. But so we tend to do a lot of networking, communication, and obviously we do telephony as well, security. So those are the sort of questions we deal with.
Okay. And cybersecurity, I mean, let's not go into too much because there's so much on the news and it's about it. But I saw a story yesterday that someone got a ransom, 250 grand or whatever it was, and they were advised to pay it. But when they paid it, this company that took their data actually really supported them on giving them their data back. And they also really wanted to give themselves a good reputation of doing that for other people. That's mental, isn't it?
Depends what the data is.
Yeah, right. Okay.
There's a lot of regulatory, a lot of compliance. GDPR still obviously is a thing.
Yeah.
We deal with it. I mean, some days it's one a month we're dealing with issues. And it's quite surprising. It's not complicated, some of this stuff. From the recent Marks and Spencer one.
Of course, yeah.
So
yeah.
I said to my mum, who's of an age, and I said, it was quite an uncomplicated hack, but where it will really happen in 6 months' time or 3 months' time, you will get an email from Marks and Spencer saying, we're really sorry you couldn't buy whatever you buy. Click on here to get a voucher. That's when that will kick in. So that breach is coming in 3 or 6 months.
So keep your eyes peeled, everyone, for that.
Well, exactly. So, but unfortunately, it's a generational thing. It's I just saw someone trying to pay for their parking in the car park. If you haven't got that, you haven't got reception, you haven't got any change. That's the world we live in.
Yeah, that's crazy. And just going back into MSP, because I hear a lot of IT companies offering MSP services. And so what makes you different?
As you touched on it, we've been doing nearly 25 years.
Yeah.
Our key mantra, if you like, it's all about service. Because we can do the technical stuff all day long with our eyes shut. It's the interface between us and the customer and making it understand, so they understand it, the education piece.
Yeah.
And I think, the pedigree, our staff, a testament to what we do.
Yeah.
And a massive part of how we provide that service.
Yeah.
And we've got a real range of skill sets and the sort of people within the business to help us do that. So
you're very pro on developing youngsters coming up into the business and bringing apprenticeships, aren't you?
Huge.
Really.
Yeah. Apprenticeship's been a real thing for us over the years. We try to take 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah.
And we work with companies who specialise in giving them a training and an education path.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. There's a skill shortage in our industry.
Is there?
Younger people don't want to get into what we do because there's also, they want to be cybersecurity experts.
Right.
And there's a 5-year learning curve into that.
Yeah. Right.
So it's difficult to attract people, but even more difficult to retain because the good ones, they're going to want to fly. We would never hold them back in that sense. We would only encourage their career.
Yeah. And I expect it may be challenging to keep people because they get poached to go to other IT companies. So you've got to really look after them.
You do.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's from all levels,
Yeah.
It's funny, we do have some come back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, grass isn't always green on the undersides. But we are it's not just IT companies. We're of a size where I think keeping good staff and talent is always going to be
always. Yeah. That's a challenge for any business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you got a situation where you've had a tricky situation with an IT sort of problem, or you've overcome that you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, the one that got me the most, and I thought about it, is it's a cyber issue. So we had a client, and there's 2 bits to this. The first one was the lady in accounts. Obviously, her boss's email got compromised.
Right.
It's only when we realised, we looked at the email threads and what happened, and this is the first thing that struck me, is the hacker, shall we call him, who was pretending to be her boss, had obviously read through the email threads and built a picture of what that looked, what communications apply. Wow. And she'd asked to pay 90,950. It always seems to be under 20,000 for some bizarre.
Okay.
The lady at accounts went back and said, "Oh, this is unusual. Are you sure? We should make a note of this." And it came back, and the thing that struck me on the email is the hacker pretended to be the MD said, "Thank you for that. Yeah. Duly noted."
And that's not something he would say? Or?
No, that's what they said.
All right.
And I said, it struck me. I went, it's not something you see every day. And I said, would your boss use it? Yeah, that's the language she uses. And so they've always been through the emails and built up a picture.
It's just like copied his mannerisms and his words and his grammar.
Yeah, huge. And I was at a conference the other day. There's a lady called Jenny Ratcliffe who's called the People Hacker. And they basically build a wall up with post-it notes. And they basically, it's very uncomplicated, some of the things we do. It's not like war games where someone's in a yonker hacking stuff. Well, that does happen. Yeah. But, phishing and clicking on stuff is the biggest problem. And that's the education piece.
Yeah, and I like that's a real learning curve. And that's a really important message which we should get across, like you just have done, to make people realise to really, really be vigilant. I mean, you can't really be vigilant against that because it's such a, I don't know.
The only other one on that, we had another client who someone had bought a domain name.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who it is. There's so many letters that we're all sort of dyslexic.
Yeah.
And it was looked at a glance, it looked exactly like their domain name.
Yeah.
There was a couple of letters around the wrong way,
Right.
which apparently we all have the same problem. So then when we looked at it twice, said, oh my God, this is organised crime. They've bought the domain name. They've managed to get some bank statement information and off they went. I mean, that's a really tricky one. And you can't police against that. And at least you've got internal processes.
Yeah.
So those are the two real ones of late that have come to mind.
They're challenges, aren't you, for you? Yeah. So how do you stay ahead of all that? How do you, I mean, what can you learn to overcome that?
Well, the industry's evolved massively.
Yeah.
So we have a dedicated chief information officer, my colleague Craig, who's been with me for 20 odd years.
Yeah.
And he's the oracle. So he's responsible for spearheading the technical roadmap.
Okay.
He does all our client security reviews annually. So we make sure we're abreast of everything we need to be and the clients are aware what they need to do.
Yeah.
And that's really then constantly learning. It's changing so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the challenge for an MSP now is having the ability or resources to dedicate to that. And then we can pass that knowledge on to the customers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we just work with industry leading partners as we can do and keep aware of what the latest trends are as well.
And is that how you choose what products you sell and what you use by industry leaders?
We do.
Yeah.
I mean, the old adage, we only will sell you what we use.
Yeah.
That's still true.
Right.
Anything my clients have, we use.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Practice what you preach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so the security software we use on the endpoints, we use it. We advocate that. And also we're very familiar and we're not learning something.
Yeah.
And something we learned from our corporate backgrounds was standardization is key. But really it's very boring. You know, we have a limited set of software hardware we sell, what we do. And the reason is commonality, it breeds reliability.
Okay.
And that comes from our sort of, which is getting a bit longer than 25 years ago. But, you know, if you went into a corporate now, it's still a thing, you know?
Yeah, it's important, isn't it? Going back to Chamber of Commerce, Sevenoaks District Chamber of Commerce, how long have you been a part of that, a member of that?
I have the slightly unusual accolade of being one of the longest serving members.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I started CHS, you know, where do we get work? Where do we get
Of course, yeah.
Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah.
Back in that day, I was in a dusty old room above the old Royal Oak in top of Sevenoaks, and it was very much for the shops in the high street.
Yeah.
And I had a dear old lady selling copper bands for arthritis next to me, and someone from the curtain shop. And they got to me and they said, "Well, what do you do, Neil?" And I said, "Well, I sell IT." Right. So what do you do then? So they moved. It was too early.
Yeah.
So I've been associated with the Chamber for 23 years.
Yeah.
In and out.
So yeah.
But I have to say, it doesn't look anything like it does.
Well, it did back then.
Completely different. And testament to, you know, the guys who are running it, they do a really good job. And it's only when you go to one of the events, you see how popular it is.
And it's growing and growing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last meeting I went to where we had was 200 odd members, 250 members, something like that. So we're doing a great job. You told me a story earlier about when you were at Chamber meeting and about some work you got from just a conversation. Tell us about that again.
Yeah. So obviously being involved with Chamber, people from a number of events ask me, you know, particularly new businesses, which is obviously the lifeline of what we do.
Yeah.
And I often say to people, you know, don't expect people to charge across the room and buy stuff. It does happen. And it doesn't. But we got our biggest ever client from a Chamber meeting, and it's basically a sequels event. Went to Western Brewery, fantastic place. I'd never been there.
Yeah.
Felt compelled to put something on LinkedIn. Can't believe I've never been there. Lived my whole life, blah, blah, blah. Someone commented a recruitment chat I had spoken to for a while. But must give them a call. Courtesy. Called them at the end of the conversation. Said, I don't suppose you've got any new business people. I know it's not what you do. Lined up some interviews. Subsequently employed one of those candidates.
Okay.
Who subsequently called a client who is now one of our biggest clients.
Amazing, isn't it? Just from one conversation.
So if we hadn't gone to the Chamber, that Chamber event, chain events wouldn't happen.
I like that story. It's just important, networking, the importance of networking, isn't it?
Yeah, sums out.
And you've got to get out there and chat to people, because if you don't, you possibly can miss out. So yeah, that's a really nice story. And you mentioned you're employing someone. So, do you employ everyone local? Is that important to you, local people?
Yeah. And I think the award sort of underlines that.
Yeah.
I mean, all of our staff are local.
Mm.
They're local people. They've particularly been born and brought up in this area. I'm from this area as well.
Because your clients aren't necessarily local, are they? Or are they?
Well, historically, we've got clients everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and that's partly because in the early days, we would chase business anywhere. But very much our focus now is, you know, we're very much invested in the community. We've been in Tunbridge 13 odd years, our office.
Yeah.
All the staff are local. We've got lots more clients local. invested in the chamber. We invested in charities as well.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to sort of invest or be more involved in the local business community.
Yeah. Running a business for yourself, what's the best thing about it for you? What do you like about that most? Oh, there's a motorbike just started up outside. I'm sure it'll pass. Yeah. What's the buzz for you?
I always say to people, every time we get an order signed off, I still get an email. And it's like, it's funny though, I can't see the value.
Oh.
It says order approved.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still get a buzz.
Yeah.
And sometimes I scroll and it might be £32.
Yeah, right.
And then it might be 32,000.
You don't care, right?
But I still go, ooh, okay, a little tease.
Someone wants to buy what I do. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Isn't that good for you?
And I've always said, all the time the buzz is there and that tingle's there, I'll be there. And I've got a few years left in me yet. So, and there's exciting times ahead as well. So we're cracking on.
Yeah, right. Okay. So moving on to the future, what does that entail?
Yeah, well, I think more the same.
Yeah.
We're developing more products and services. We're expanding our telecoms, our connectivity piece. We're working more with cyber. We're lucky. We're experiencing some good growth still. We've got and more important, we've got a great team of people.
Yeah.
So they're driving the business on. So
yeah. And let's talk about the AI situation and what that is and what your opinion is on that, how it's going to affect things.
I think the adoption's really slow. I mean, everyone uses ChatGPT, but if you take it in isolation, that's not really in the business world.
Yeah.
And I think some people don't really understand the difference sometimes. But I was at Microsoft a couple of weeks ago, and they've actually scaled back their forecast. They're saying within 5 years.
Right.
But what's important now is you're finding that AI agents, so specific things, specific jobs, are really coming to the fore.
Okay.
We use one ourselves to help the service desk people.
Yeah.
It's a product that sits on the side. It looks at the tickets coming in. It looks at all the data.
Yeah.
And then it does a summary and says, well, we've seen this before. Is this potentially a resolution to the problem? Then we can send an AI bot off to help fix that problem.
Wow.
So that's a good use of AI.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is cost as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Big thing about data, big data. Everyone's got so much data now.
Yeah.
Whether it's media, camera phones now got images are huge.
Yeah.
People don't file stuff properly. And if you don't do that, AI is not going to work properly because you need the security structure around it. So
yeah.
It will happen, but I think it's going to take a lot longer than
people think. It's sort of merging in, but it's not quite there, is it, with some things? A bit like electric cars, not quite there yet.
No,
but
yeah, exactly.
But eventually, I'm sure it will.
It will. And I think it will manifest in different ways.
Yeah.
We've all got AI on our phone and in emails now. So it is getting there.
And any sort of, talking about going back to the future, sort of emerging technologies that you're excited about?
The big thing people talk about is IoT, Internet of Things, where everything's plugged in. Automation, I think, is going to become a big thing.
Yeah.
That'll all be driven by AI as well.
Right.
But, I think the bricklayers are safe. Your plasters are safe.
Yeah. And the hairdressers.
But I'm hearing things, particularly in some industries, whether it's, PR or design.
Yeah.
You're seeing that AI is nibbling away at some of those industries.
Yeah.
So you are seeing an issue there. So,
okay.
But yeah, I think where automation, I think, is where a lot of it, we see so much things about driverless cars and things like that. So I think technology, we thought, the advent of the phone would stop people buying laptops and desktops. It's called BYOD because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
But we've never sold so many laptops and desktops in history.
Really?
Yeah. And I think in 5 years, I think it'll probably be a lot the same.
Yeah.
People still like to go in an office. Work from home's coming back a bit. It's overseeing, people being returned to the office.
Yeah.
So people still need that traditional type IT infrastructure.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting to see how the future goes and see it must be hard for yourself to keep up with it all. Obviously, you must have a young team coming up that know, you have to get that young blood in that knows more than you.
Well, I walk through the office and I look at some of the stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
I really can't.
And you probably don't want to or need to either, do you? You wouldn't be a good business owner if you wanted to get involved.
Exactly that. And I accepted that some years ago. I'm good at certain things, dealing with problems and business challenges. And that's the thing as well with our customers. We're dealing with business owners predominantly because of the sizes.
Yeah.
And we're helping them through the challenges and, how we can support them do that across all the technology fields. So.
Yeah. Are you going to the summer soiree?
I am going to the summer soiree.
Sevenoaks Chamber of Commerce, District Chamber of Commerce, Sevenoaks soiree is tomorrow afternoon at Penzance Place, isn't it?
And the weather looks amazing.
It's looking really good, isn't it?
going to melt.
Yeah, it's going to be real good fun. Listen, Neil, thank you very much for talking to me.
Well,
and thank you for coming on the first Sevenoaks District Chamber of Commerce podcast. It's an exciting new concept which we're going to be doing. So anything else you want to talk? Have we missed anything? Is there anything? No,
it's a very big topic.
Yeah,
and we could be all day.
Yeah.
I think it's just to give people a little insight about the industry,
Yeah.
And what we do and some of the challenges around, and not just what challenges for us, but challenges for small and medium sized businesses.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Neil.
Great.
And we'll see you all for another one of these podcasts soon. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thank you.